Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra! This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Going Ultra. Visit mjmunoz.com/gu for notes and links. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment to help me grow. SSSS.Dynazenon, Episode 2, is entitled What's Your Reason for Fighting? It originally aired April 9th, 2021. The writer is Keiichi Hasegawa, the director Akira Furukawa. And I have observations. I dialed in my SSSS.D format. So here we go. I'm debuting this for the very first time. Static. What was the stuff I didn't like about this episode? Chise feels out of place, except for as otaku or loli-bait. It's not my cup of tea. She did have a cute reaction, though, that I included in the collage, which you're either seeing on the video now, or you can see over at mjmunoz.com/gu, 13, whatever. Anyway, I like I like the characters to an extent. It's just how she's framed that really bugs me. Sizzle. This is the visual stuff that I really dug. The sakuga, if you want to say. The Kaiju was super cool and allowed for some great team combat. I really liked how they were able to split up. It's funny, Dynazenon appeared first as a combined robot or whatever, and then it is the separate ones, and there's the different users of it. And I thought it was interesting that there's, 3 different people plus Gauma, so that's 4 total, and the Kaiju crew, whatever they're called, not Kaiju tamers, the people he used to roll with. Eugenicists, that's right, Kaiju eugenicists. There's 4 of them total, so could they pilot a Dynazenon thing? Did he steal Dynazenon from them? What happened? That's kind of some speculation that I'm not supposed to be doing right now, but it makes me think that. Anyway, I really like how they have toys. I mean, like, the Dynazenon figures are literally toys, or they look exactly like toys, and I expect that when the toys for this show come out, they will look exactly like that, which is a pretty neat feature. It's an interesting thing to do, especially in this, Trigger and Subaru. I know that, this is coming out in a world of otaku and, fans who buy a lot of merchandise, and even one of the Ultramans from a few years ago, they were actually using the Sofubi, the vinyl figures of the Ultraman, as I think they called them Spark Dolls. And whatever show that was, let me know, because like I said, I'm still learning Ultraman stuff. But anyway, that's just super cool, super groovy that they just, hey, here, grab the toy, use that for for the transformation sequences or whatever. So anyway, I like that. And I like how they're using toys here, and then you could probably buy the actual, Dyna Rex figure and, Dyna Wing and all that stuff, and have them combine. That's just super cool. It's super neat. And I liked, I liked the fact that they have the mecha with them as toys, that they have them as what? I don't know what I was going to say. I like that they were training with them. I like that they can just phase in and out of the machines. That's really cool. And then once Minami got Yomogi into fighting, things got so good with all the aerial maneuvering that they did. And it was fun that they had practiced it earlier in the episode. The only thing I have a qualm with, and this is a kind of a staticky item, is that he was able to jump, super high in his Dyna Rex in order to combine with the Dyna Wing. So that doesn't really make sense for how much how much trouble he was having maneuvering things, with his arms and whatnot. But I don't know, whatever. Doesn't really bother me. Now we're moving on to the soul section. There was some good stuff going on here. Minami's connection with her frumpy friend, Gauma spending the evening with Yomogi's family, and Minami showing Yomogi the damage from the battle are all well-crafted anchors of humanity. And by that I say and I mean that they were moments of human connection, and they show not so much a different side. It showed a different side of Minami, because she's been so cold and so distant, whatever. And we know she has this friend from the first episode, and they seem kind of a mismatch. I called her frumpy on purpose because the fact that a bunch of people keep asking Yume and Minami out on dates and whatnot she's supposed to be attractive. And then the friend, she's got her hair, just the way her hair and her glasses are, and like she's wearing like an oversized jacket. She kind of reminds me of Naoto, or Naota from Fully Cooley, like her outfit. Like if you mix Naota with the, I can't remember the girl's name, but anyway, she reminds me of that. So she doesn't have the long flowing hair. She doesn't have the skirt and the, cute blazer and stuff. It's just a totally different look, even though they go to the same school and whatever, right? So to me, it means that there's supposed to be this contrast between them, and yet the two of them have a connection. And it almost makes me think that they kind of have a sisterly connection, or that they're kind of that close as friends, and that's a big deal to Minami, and she wants to protect her, even though everything else in her life is pretty... or like her home life is not good because of what happened with her sister and how that's affected her and her parents afterwards. She has this, and she keeps breaking promises to boys, right? But she has this girl who she goes back to and she confides in, and she has this relationship with, and they're being playful. She's riding piggyback or whatever, and then she's running away from her, and the girl's taking pictures, and like those moments were really like endearing and like charming and sweet, and then hanging out with Yomogi's family, it just felt very home-like. And they were at home, but Yomogi's mom was welcoming him, Gauma, to stay, and like, have dinner, I don't want to impose, sleep over, I don't want to impose, and then he does both, right? But it just felt so warm and inviting. And even you have the contrast of Yomogi saying like, Mom, how could you just trust this guy that he's one of my friends? And I guess, presumably to let him come in and go to the, join me in the bath or whatever, which that's kind of funny. Like, hey, Mrs. So-and-so, I want to go get in the bath with your son. I guess it's a different culture thing, huh? It never freaked me out when I was watching Kiva, but I just thought like, oh, that's a different culture, isn't it? Anyway, but like Gauma he's this weird character. He's got the pink hair, he's got the scars. I don't know where he's from. He's very, extra with his clothes. They're unearthly. But like he has a human connection with Yomogi's family. And he's shown like very human traits, like being mad that Minami didn't, keep her promise to Yomogi in episode 1 and things like that. But like going over and like, oh, I don't want to impose, but then imposing, like just very human. Like he has a reason he wants to, fight the Kaiju to protect the city. I'm like, he's oriented to that anyway, but like even more so, there's a nice lady who, made him dinner and who invited him to stay over. And there's, the nice grandma who was falling asleep at the table and stuff. So like, that's all, I don't know, it's all very warm and endearing and really lovely. And then, like I said, Minami showing Yomogi the damage that was caused in the city. It was a lot of damage. I'm surprised that they didn't pull back. In Gridman, SSSS.Gridman, they were able to pull back on the damage, and it served a certain purpose. Now here, in episode 2, by the end of it, we protected it is the title of this episode. It's the quote on the thumbnail, and it's kind of an interesting point to me that they did protect the city, and it's because they failed to protect it previously, but they protected it this time and didn't cause as much damage. Although a building did get knocked down. So that's not good. So I almost wonder if they'll edge into having the Kaiju be less damaging, but it's just interesting. The Kaiju battles are always so destructive. Even watching Ultraman Z, like, man, those Kaiju fights are tough. They, unless they're in the countryside, they're, destroying buildings and stuff. That is not good. Even the last one I watched, a building got stabbed through, and then the Kaiju got stuck. His sword got stuck in it for a minute. So, but that's real damage, ostensibly. But it's in these spectacular fights, and it's so fun to watch that it's I don't know, you kind of divorce yourself from it, and it's fiction, so it's kind of makes it okay. But they're kind of making the point that it isn't okay that this damage is happening in the show, and I kind of like that. Moving on to speculation, I expect. Anyway, I expect that we'll see more training for Yomogi. Hopefully we'll get some focus with him doing some super cool stuff at Dynarex. I hope Gauma will give a little background on himself and his crew, the Kaiju eugenicists, and yeah, I'd like to see that. I also might expect for them to get into, like I was referring to earlier, like not letting the city get damaged. That would be pretty cool to see them really trying to protect the city from damage, and maybe even if they can more proactively search out Kaiju and stop them, from damaging things just as they're, going wild or whatever. And it strikes me as interesting that the Kaiju eugenicists were able to find the kaiju. People were taking pictures of it and stuff. For are they observing microblogs? Are they following people? Do they have some sense for tracking them down, either innate or technological? I'd be interested to know that. I'm hoping we'll get a little more from them. Like I said, a little more background on them from Gauma's perspective would be good. And then I have kind of questions to bring up. And these are less things that I'm going to go into because I went as long as I went, and more things that I would love for people to respond to and answer for me. So question 1, why is Yomogi holding back? Question 2, why are Minami, Koyomi, and Chise leaning into Dynazenon? And I know that Chise isn't actually piloting yet. I suspect she might. But she's definitely there for it. She thinks it's cool. She's into it. And then is Gauma's scar a Roman numeral 4? It's like an I and a V. Or maybe it's a 6, a V and an I, right? If so, what does that mean? Does it mean something significant? The fact that would he have been the 5th member of the Kaiju eugenicists? Would he have been the 4th member and then he got kicked out? Is there one more person and then he's supposed to be the 6th member, like a 6th ranger sort of thing? I don't know. I'm wondering about that. So I would love to hear some feedback on that. I'd love to hear comments from y'all about that, because I want to know, why do you think he's holding back? Why do you think the other 3 are so into it? And what's the deal with the scar? And maybe we'll get an answer to that next episode. We could. You never know. So anyway, with all that being said, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to ask that you go over to mgmonews.com/gu, that you check out my, so that's the page for Going Ultra, that you check out my analyses of not only Ultraman Z, but of Dynazenon, SSSS.Dynazenon, episode 1 as well. And that you see, check out my writing. I've got a Tokusatsu inspired children's book that I'm writing, and I'm kind of writing it in public. It's over there on the blog. It's called Ava and the Glow Bug, or Grow Bug. It should be Glow Bug, but I had started out calling it Grow Bug. Anyway, you can find that out there and check it out. I have a brainstorming session. I have a draft, an outline and a draft part 1, and I'm going to be working on draft part 2 today. I don't know when that'll be out, but look for it. Anyway, I'm going to remind you that you don't need to shout Henshin to be a hero, and I'm going to leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ signing out.